Let there be light, and there was light. So I thought I would share my new experience with you. There's always new experiences, but this is profound and I think very wonderful. It's of wonderful benefit for me. Okay, so if you've been following me, you would notice that this is the first time I'm wearing this. I call it royal blue. Okay, sky blue or royal blue. I think it's royal blue. Okay. Um, so yes, I have a background in fashion and design, but you would not see me wearing this color. It had been my list of favorite. In fact, it had not come into that equation of favorite or favoritism. It had been a color that I'd wear blue jeans, yes. So blue jeans are like navy blue almost. And I love the sky. I love the sea, the ocean, but I would not be wearing such color. And so one of the things that I felt, because this is what happens now, I have learned the language of Mother Eve, well, to what I'm meant to be learning now, because Mother Eve is the language, is the goddess of language. And so who's to know what else I'm meant to be learning? But I, for 2 days or so, it struck me that this was the color I was seeing all over. I saw two people, one with, well, it was the trainers, the shoes and the top was this color, and the other one, and they were not together. They were walking side by side, but I thought they were actually a couple who seemed to have been matching each other, but they were about their different businesses, and one was holding his cardigan or something, a sweater in his hand with the same shade of blue. And I really felt it, and it was blue all over. I just kept seeing blue. So I really asked, well, Mother Eve, what's going on with blue? Well, it was really, like you'd say, a silly question, because I immediately knew that it was to do with my relationship with the color blue. And of course, I felt, well, I have been preparing myself on healing, doing as much work as possible to, I feel I'm healed. I feel I'm whole. I feel at a good place. And, but still, it seemed like there was yet something else to do. And there's something we call, well, if you're not in Britain, but we call carrier bags, the plastic bags. And even when, you had your shopping put in this bag, I had something about handling this bag. I just didn't like the color, the shade of this blue. Having said that, remembering there was a childhood experience with blue. It's not very clear now, but however, putting that aside, I had an experience where an ex-boyfriend of mine bought me a gift and it was blue. And even in the moment of knowing I should just say thank you, I was conscious that I should just accept it and say thank you. No, I could not allow myself to say thank you in that moment. I really said, have you not noticed? I do not have anything blue. I do not like blue. I do not wear blue. Look in my home. Have you noticed any blue? And I was really in that like some crazy. I freaked out about blue. I freaked on blue. Okay. Today I am celebrating my resolution with blue. I am celebrating because I understood that I had to make that demonstration. I immediately understood that I had to make that demonstration. And actually, it was the very same day. I had, in fact, in these 2 days, which was 2 days ago, where I bought a blouse, and it's by Patsy Gordon, which I have made a reference to on one of the presentations, where I thought it was by the 8th phase. It said for the 8th phase. Now, I'm preparing for this 8th phase because, as I said, and Mother Eve has really given us the insight, we are ending a 7,000 year cycle. And ending this 7,000 year cycle, we are also ending a 7-phase cycle. It's also a 7-phase cycle. That really coincides with all the entries or statements where Mother Eve, or should I say the spells, where Mother Eve says, let there be light, let there be the waters to divide the waters from the waters, let there be a firmament to divide the waters from the waters, let there be well, there's 7. Let there be lights in the heavens to give light upon the earth, and let the waters bring forth gushing. There, this, it's in Genesis chapter 1. Yes, and so there are the 7 entries there of lettings. And lettings, of course, like I keep making the reference, it's like a letting agency. They let out or you let your house, meaning you rent your house to someone, or those lettings. That's what we are talking about. And so, my trail of thoughts. And so the 8th cycle is which is the last one, and this is all in Genesis of chapter 1. I have gone over it several times, where Mother Eve makes these 8 statements. Now, there is one verse where it seemed like Mother Eve is the only person talking in this verse, where she says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And then it continues, and God made man in his own image and likeness. There are 2 different aspects or contents going there. So basically, Mother Eve says that, but it's another God who has made man in his own image and likeness. And then Mother Eve, if you like, interjects in that verse again by saying, behold, I have given you all things, because there is the blessing, the God who made, and then there is the God who blessed. And even when it is said, and God blessed, meaning there's that God of blessings, then Mother Eve comes back. So this is another time, a second time, Mother Eve says, behold, I have given you all fruit-bearing trees, that which have its seed in it after its kind. There seemed to have been an emphasis for Mother Eve to be making that statement. There was that statement, and there was a reason. I would say the reason, although it's in our face now, but because of how it is phrased, we may tend to lose the essence of that emphasis, where the mother is really trying to remind us. And that's why the word remember is so crucial. She is saying, behold. When she says behold, it's really like saying, remember, I have given you all. And there's the word all. Now, all also equals 7. So basically, 7 is that whole, equals the whole in that sense of one, or when we say that everything was created in 6 days and the seventh day, and we know about there's the two sets of 7 gods, so it's 14 gods, but we could say that perhaps whether we looked at it as 7 of the gods were positive or 7 negative, however we want to phrase it, because we see the word 7 equals 2, which is 20, but it equals 2. So 20 is that rock. It's that the bedrock, because we are only able to really dwell or concentrate on that 1/7, which is the 7 that we have, that has been projected to us. And again, so there is like, we are meant to be able to see or identify those gods which we had not understood altogether, their makeup, or how they reside in our makeup, or how they function in our makeup, or how we use their characteristics to function in our world, or to make sense of ourselves. So basically, we see that we are the result of those gods, and we are meant to, or Mother Eve is really reminding us to pay attention, no matter which end of the spectrum you are on, whether you're on the ground like the snake, or whether you were on the tree like the serpent, whether you were doing something evil, or whether you had done something evil, or good or bad. It's really paying, Mother Eve is saying, pay attention, because behold, I have given you all of those things anyway. I have given them to you. So when someone gives you something, it's up to you to know how to use that thing. So for instance, I'm sure that I'm not on my own on this, and it's for everyone who had encountered something that seemed negative, evil, terrible, and it turned out to be the best thing that happened. It turned out to be the blessing. It turned out to be the richness of what, like myself, for example, I have had such a life where I've had very painful experiences of abuse and all sorts of bullying and God knows, but it has shaped me into becoming this truly wonderful person that you are looking at right now. And how wonderful is that? So, oh, how wonderful am I? And this is not, it's just really to find that balance, the juice that I could stand in front of the mirror and say, aha, I get it. I don't have to hang on to this abuse anymore, because I see that it was there to present me a lesson to find the beauty of life. So that's what Mother Eve really wants to convey to us, even through the two sets of the 7 gods. So, and we see with the 2 sets of the 7 gods, and the mere fact that 7 equals 2 is like a reminder that there are 2 sets, that there's that reminder that there are 2, it's like 2 of you, or 2 of me, or 2 of us. That's where the word us comes into, because us is 31, and 3 plus 1 is 4, and that comes on the 4, which is 4 here, where we are getting into understanding our north, south, east, and west, but it also is very much on that bonding stage, the beehive, which is 3. So basically 31 is really 13. That's the reverse. That's what Revelation teaches us about. It is really the beehive. Revelation, when we do the numerical value for the word revelation, it comes to 13. And of course, 13 by reverse is 31. This is why, and I'm believing that 31, when it equals father, it's like perhaps saying further. I keep getting this and I keep getting this, that the word Father really means further. So when it says the Father which is in heaven, it's the further up in heaven, the further up that we go is the Father. It's then, and it also equals, the word west also equals 31. Just want to ensure that I've got this correct. It's either 31 or 13. So it's W-E-S-T. So this is 10. So it's 13. And 3 is 13. Okay. So the west here is that, again, so the west is, this is where revelation is in the west. That's where we go to bed and we meditate on our beds. We remember things, particularly after we have had a rest. We remember things from the different realms, from the dream worlds, if we say, if you like. When we dream, we remember in the west. And that's the word revelation. Things are revealed to us in our dreams. And that's where we get visions and so on. But there's the marriage of number 2 that helps us to do that. We need to be, this is where Emmett Fox said, we need to have this consciousness. Nothing comes into your consciousness unless it finds something like itself on which to attach itself to. So there is the attachment happening there, and there's the marriage, the relationship, the fellowship, agreement, because that's where Christ had his agreement with his disciples. They agreed, and there's nothing saying that they did or they did not, but we hear Christ said, as often as you do this in remembrance of me. Break of the bread and drink of the wine, because the bread is his blood, the bread is his flesh, and the wine is his blood. I can't help but think how we tied into this ritual, and everything brings everything is seed form. Every thought is a seed, and that seed or that vow or that suggestion has evolved, where people are actually drinking blood and eating human flesh, which I don't like to even have to say, but it's really, I haven't seen it, but there are enough reports, and we know that it has happened. Historically, cannibals and so on, and the sacrifice. But even if it didn't happen, in the reality of it, because it is energy, because the flesh and the blood is the energy that we are using, or to make sense of this three-dimensional world. So we find that if someone was to speak to you, for instance, or bullied you, for instance, they would be sapping on your energy to that extent. That there's so many different ways people really sap your energy. And nowadays people are doing it again, because every seed is like bringing forth after its kind, or abundantly as well. Abundantly means blatantly. So some people are very blunt with this, and I had such an experience even yesterday, which I'm not going to go into it, but I wanted to use this to really say, for people who are conscious about moving, or whether you are already into the 5th dimension, but because Mother Eve is nurturing us, we are going through our induction process. That's the word. We are going through the induction process of this new dimension, the 5th dimension, which is also the 8th dimension. In case you are new to this is the dimension right here. So this is where we speak things into being. This is where we eat of the fruit This is where we bless with our mouths or curse with the tongue, but hopefully we are only now doing the blessing, because that's those who are in this dimension now have got the awareness that the world has been, or we had been so saturated with the cursing aspect of it, what we call negative. So now we need to concentrate on what we call positive to really counterbalance and bring this, bring ourselves and the earth into equilibrium. So there I was, and this is what Mother Eve was really prompting me to do, to really get into this wonderful blue. And I must say, when I well, I didn't have to struggle to wear it. It's like because I understood, and there's a wonderful thing about when you understand the significance of your action or the significance of the lesson that you are being taught, it's not a struggle. So I have been showing off my blue today. Now, as it goes, blue is actually, wow, I am glad I just remembered this as well, because the color blue is 31 or 13. So let's look at that. Wow. That is that is synchronicity. That is synchronicity. Wonderful. Intuition and synchronicity. So the B, of course, which is a 13 that I've been talking about. And this is 3 and 5. Let's do this. So this is 8 and this is 13. So this is 13. 8 and 5 is 13. And here we are talking about, just to do this demonstration or illustration, when Christ had this with his disciples, and he said, when as often as you do this, do it in remembrance of me. So there would be an agreement. When there is an agreement, you are equal, you are on equal or equally yoked, so to speak, at that moment. And so we know this is our equal sign. 2 dashes gives us our equal sign. And we would have the 2 dashes here. This is where the bond is. Then there's the bond. There's the bond right here. And of course, we can see that part of the bond is that 3. That 3 right here, which is the 8-petal flower. As E, as M, and as 3. Right here. Okay. So, in fact, we could imagine all these are the 3s here. This stroke here is that which is bend or becomes flexible and forms that inner circle, and the 3 goes around. Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed this. And yes, so I am really loving my blue, and I am believing that I am ready for whatever Mother Eve is for my induction course, put it this way. We are on this induction course, and hoping we all are on this journey. And please leave your likes, your comments, and questions, if of course questions, and see how best I can address them as well. And any contribution, of course, let them be on the subject matter as well. Thank you. And oh, this is just so delicious. Okay. Yes, let there be light, and there was light.